Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I haven't done it since last year. And I want to thank my sponsors for sponsoring this podcast. I also want to thank Calexico Brewing Company for, being a supporter of the podcast as well. Today we have somebody that does a lot for the community, kind of low key, but he's always like running around. I see him everywhere. And not only for Calexico, but, for a lot of little, I guess for the towns around Imperial Valley. My guest today is Christopher Gomez Wong. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I really wanted to talk to you today because this weekend we're having the second farmers market of the season, right?
Yeah,
this weekend.
Second of the season. We're going into year 6, and this is the second event for the year. We had one on the December 29th. It was kind of in between the holiday, but this one is the first one of the year. So
yeah, and it's kind of windy, huh?
Yeah, it was a little rough, the weather, but I think this one should be better. Hopefully it doesn't rain because I think there's going to be rain in the forecast.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how the farmers market started, because I know you're one of the, I guess like founders of the farmers market, or you're part of the group that kind of like runs it. And
at this point I mostly just volunteer for the market as a community member. When it started as I can give you like history if you'd like.
Yeah.
So when I first moved back from college, the neighborhood house in Calexico was running a farmers market in El Centro. They had received a grant from the USDA, which is a local food promotion program. And so the USDA gave them money to set up a farmers market in a food desert. And the food desert that they identified was actually in El Centro. So the Calexico Neighborhood House had a farmers market in El Centro. There's a girl named Jessica Yocopicia who now works for Catholic Charities. She was working for Catholic Charities then and running the event. And when I moved back, I started volunteering with her. And a lot of the credit goes to her. She explained basically the permits, how to apply, and she gave me contacts, and she helped me set it up here. And so she basically showed me the ropes. That first summer, 2013, that I came back, and we also worked together to petition the county board of supervisors to lower the permit fees. So we had a big, a few like good positive wins early on. The food permit to participate in a local event used to be like $85 per day. Wow. And some of the food vendors didn't make that at all for the day. So together we went and petitioned the county supervisors to lower the fee. They lowered it eventually down to about $15. And so that allowed more people to participate. From there, the farmers market has, now we're in year 6, and I think hopefully we can keep growing. At the very beginning, we had a committee, and it was composed of the city public works, council members, community services director, myself. The health department was also part of it. And slowly, though, people in the committee started to not attend, and so it ended up just being Sandra Tyler, the community services director, running the program, and I would volunteer for her mostly. The city adopted it under their like structural plan, mm-hmm. And so now it belongs to the city, and they run the show. Mostly though, the library through Sandra Tyler and the community services.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But because I remember like way when I think it was like 4 years ago that me and my son went and we did a little video, and mm-hmm. You since I can remember, you've been part of the whole process. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I mostly just go and help them on the day of, and I help them set up, help them take down. I help them order the produce I help them get donations from farmers locally, or we order produce from a distributor. And I will recruit volunteers, help them with the permit process. But mostly the city does the rest of the stuff.
And some of the vendors that are, like regulars, every time I go, I see Maribel.
Oh, yeah.
She's always there.
Yeah.
And then we have local vendors that, do like arts and crafts stuff that, like, I think I've seen bows, somebody that sells bows.
Yep. There's some of the food vendors, like Shake and Wake, not so much this year. They've had some issues with their truck, but some of the local food vendors like Norma's Hot Dogs, Maribel's Bewitching Treats. There was a lemonade stand that started up there, and they're now at different events around the county. Shake and Wake started there that first year. They started in a little shack, the same way as everybody else sets up, and eventually they grew. And some of the other vendors are like the artisans. They're either making stuff with their hands, like the soap makers or the jewelry makers. Some people screen print, and they're making their own like shirt brands and stuff like that. So it's very much a community small business development sort of.
So you said the permits are $15 for. Is it only for food vendors or like?
Oh yeah. So if you want to sell something at the farmers market, it's a $10 registration fee with the library. Anything that's not food, you can sell. If you're in an informational booth, it's free. If you want to sell food specifically, it's a $15 permit, but it's not. You don't pay that to the library. You pay that to the health department, and we don't charge. The library doesn't charge for food vendors. As long as a food vendor has their permit, they can submit it to the health department, and then they can come and set up.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is the cheapest for the community events. I think like Imperial charges a lot of money for food vendors.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you something else. I forgot. Oh, so every from what I saw on the flyer, like every weekend you try to have like a little theme.
Oh yeah, so the themes are mostly in line with the library's events that they used to have. So they used to have Playmania, the Tiny Tots Olympics, and now it's basically merged with the Farmers Market Days. So we'll have, last year we had the My Plate 5K, which was conducted in coordination with the COPA group, the Community Obesity Prevention Alliance. We had an obstacle course race that was funded by Heffernan Memorial Healthcare District and facilitated by the Wellness for Kids program, which is ran by Dr. Tristan and Patti from the what's her gym called? The fitness, I forgot.
Oh, the one by Pollos. Yeah.
Over there on Cole, and so we try to have something for some segment of the community each day. There's a senior power day, family. There's a family literacy fair, and so each day will have a different theme.
I'm printing out the schedule.
So Tiny Tots Olympics, the family fun fair, the children's art fair. We'll have kids art on display, and they can come in and participate. And yeah. And
then it says here that you have bouncers. Like,
there's a bouncer every single time for the kids. That's a big one for when the parents show up with the baby, with the little 3 to 6 year olds, they can go and bounce around while the parents are shopping. So
cool. And what classifies you under like information booth? Like what?
So if you're from the health department, or if you're from Catholic Charities, if you're from some sort of public service agency where you're just providing information, a faith-based group or a community service group, that mostly.
Okay, so
as long as you're not selling anything, you can set up for free.
Oh, okay. So like if you're from a church, you want to come by and and what about meetings, for example, depression meetings. Like I know that Central's been having with the LGBT research center, they've been having meetings for depression and stuff like that. Can they come by and?
Yeah, I don't know if I hadn't thought of them holding meetings there, but I don't see why not.
But I mean, not
but
meetings.
They can go there to network and find out information, and then from there attend.
Mm-hmm, yeah. If they like say, the LGBT research center comes by and has like calendars as to when they have meetings. Mm-hmm. That's something that they can.
That's exactly what.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, that'll be cool because I'm gonna meet up with them tomorrow, so I'll try to mention it to them.
Yeah, if they want to have a resource booth and they want to network and talk to people and spread their messages and recruit people to join them and grow their numbers. I think it's a really good avenue for, to for exposure if you have a group. The
other thing was, so it runs from 10 till 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your schedule.
Yeah, 10 a.m. to 2 every other Saturday. Right here between the Kika Marina Library and Calexico High School, usually where the lunch line for the high school is.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, we started off inside the park, but some of the vendors complained because it was enclosed. They don't like the fence.
No, okay.
And so they wanted to go onto the street. There's a big push from lots of different sources, and people have been wanting to move it to downtown for a very long time. And I can answer the reason why it hasn't been moved downtown right here, right now. Because some people are like, move it downtown, get it over there, revitalize downtown with it. More than anything, the issue with moving it is that logistically, the library can't, we have all the storage, the canopies, the trash cans, the truck, everything is based inside of the library at Crummett Park.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us to take it to another place without the personnel and volunteers to do it is much harder, than what we're already doing. So it's been a challenge, but we've been getting through it.
So say these people that want it downtown, say they would unite and say oh, you know what, we'll help out. You think that will be a...
I think so. I think if people want to move it downtown or even hold a separate, if they want to form an event downtown, I think they got to get involved and help out and, pitch in on the day of, because otherwise it's being run by volunteers, high school students, that show up on the day of to help, empty trash cans, set up tables, set up the canopies. And the community services director has the library staff manning a couple of booths here and there, but it's not enough people to logistically set it up and run the show. For example, in Imperial, where they have Imperial Market Days, they have the largest event in the county as far as those markets go.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of funding. So for instance, they can pay thousands of dollars for Clydesdale rides or fake snow or for a band or even just for advertising. There's money for it that they've been provided. At the end of the day, when everything needs to be cleaned up and things need to be taken down, the city staff, the maintenance crew of the city, comes out with their orange vests and they come and clean everything up. And so it's funded by the city. It's organized. At the library, we mostly run on volunteers, and we're not funded pretty much at all. The only funding that it goes into it is basically the library staff's salaries when they're there present.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe here and there we've gotten some help from the community benefit fund. I think the supervisors gave money. I think it's the community benefit fund. I'm not sure what it's called, but they gave the farmers market some money a couple years ago. At the very beginning, we were getting donations from certain farmers, so that was able to supplement, some of the costs. The only cost really that the library incurs is renting tables, renting chairs, renting the bouncer, and paying for the DJ that's there. And that's where basically we get any money that is raised through. So farmers donate produce and the library buys extra fruit. Whatever gets sold by the volunteer high school eco garden club members goes towards paying the rental that day for the tables, the bouncer, the DJ. So it just revolves. Even the booth fees, the $10 booth fee, goes back into paying that fee.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, it's
it's just cycling in.
There's no profit. Then
not much. It's not for profit. No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
The city's not really making money off of it. It's more just to provide the avenue and the event for people to do.
Yeah, and I mean, just the community sense, bringing the community together,
Mm-hmm.
for that little bit that,
Yeah, that one Saturday morning where you can go out there with your family and, have your kids participate. Maybe you find something,
So going back to, you mentioned the Eco Garden volunteers from here in the high school.
Mm-hmm.
most of the kids that are out there are, people that you get to volunteer from here. From the high
Oh
school?
yeah, 100%. Some here and there will get kids from the Dianza 9th grade academy or Kike Camarena students. But it's very few and far in between. It's a handful of younger students that come and volunteer, and they fill out a form with the city, and they're official volunteers. The Eagle Garden Club, though, has been a consistent source of volunteers. So for the last 5 years, every Wednesday we're there. We have, vegetable crops that are growing seasonally, but then they also are doing a bunch of other stuff. And so they're the ones that go and volunteer. They help set up the tables. They help empty the trash cans and set up the canopies. So
yeah, because I see you here every so often here on campus, and so that's what you're doing. You're with the Eco Garden kids.
So this is going to actually the 6th year. When I moved back, I had Justin Duron, a really good friend of mine from high school, passed away. Before he had set up the garden club. He had 2 beds in the little section right behind Chef Nunez's classroom. And I didn't know that he had set them up. I moved back and I through Jessica. Actually, Jessica was working for the after school program here also, the person who helped us set up the market. I started going with Jessica and volunteering there too. And she told me, oh, well, Justin actually built this garden. I was like, oh, well, my best friend in high school built this thing. I might as well help out, And since then, it's grown. So we've added beds every other year. Last year, they fenced it off, and they've produced everything from beets, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. It's good. Tomatoes, peppers.
Oh, and they use them in Chef's class, or?
Yeah. So then once or twice a year, they'll have a garden to table, farm to table demonstration. So Chef Nunez will invite administrators and teachers, and we'll harvest everything that's out in the garden, and then we'll cook with it. And it's basically, an educational sort of expo for administrators and for the students as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't. I mean, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Next time we have it, hopefully I can invite you.
Okay. Cool.
But he also, that happens once or twice a year, but very frequently his culinary class will go outside and pick basil. We'll pick, different things that they can use for their culinary class that day. Yeah,
and I walk by every so often there, and it's kind of cool when you see the process of the vegetables growing and stuff like that. It's like, and it's cool that the kids stay away from it. They respect it.
That's something that I've been kind of surprised. Like, I feel very grateful that there hasn't been much vandalism at all. I think the first year somebody took some vegetables, but but for the most part, people respect it. They don't mess with it. The only threat we have is aphids and bugs sometimes. And I like that the administration here bought and installed picnic tables, and so now that area gets used during lunch, and that's kind of what we want. Is for it to be like a community hub for people to go in and experience the garden, see how it's growing.
And at the same time, it kind of I'm assuming they wonder and they ask the same kids that are with the program. They kind of other kids come and ask them, hey, what are you growing, or how does it work, or it kind of spreads the word, and us being an agriculture community, it's kind of interesting that kids know what goes around in the valley, because we are that's the biggest,
one of the biggest ag communities in the nation, and it's sad because a lot of people don't know what's growing out in the fields. They don't know, we can't identify specific crops. Some of the food that's grown out there doesn't even get sold to us because we're not we're not consumers of it. So for example, one of the big motivators for me to start the market is this thing called Romanesco broccoli. It's this really fancy looking Italian heirloom variety. Some call it broccoflower, but it's Romanesco broccoli. It's like it looks like a broccoli and cauliflower mix, but the things are fractal looking. It's like a little tiny pyramids and pokey. It looks really pretty. If you put it on your video, it'd look nice. Okay. Romanesco broccoli was being sold at the Davis Farmers Market in Northern California, and I was working for a vendor there when I was still in college, and I would unwrap the boxes and look in the produce and then unload the produce and put it on the display table. And I would read the box and it said Brawley, California, Hopeville, California, and I was like, I've never even seen this vegetable. It looks super nice and fancy. It sells for like $3 to $4 a head.
Oh, wow.
And we can't buy it here. It doesn't even get sold to us.
Really?
Until very recently, it started showing up at Bonds, like once in a while. And we actually got it sold at the farmer's market last year. So
does it taste like broccoli, or what's
to me, it tastes like baby corn, kind of. Like the Chinese baby corn in Mexico. Kind of like that raw. But it's kind of a mix between cauliflower and broccoli. Very interesting. It's tasty. I like it.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Definitely a new food to try.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Maybe are you gonna have it this season?
I wish. We had it last year and the year before that, and I was very grateful that a farmer had donated them to us. But they're very hard to come by, and because basically before they even get planted, they are spoken for by some company or distributor out in somewhere else. So usually what the farmers donate are kind of like whatever they have left over or whatever is, not essential to them. Maybe the ugly vegetables that aren't like prime for the stores. I think they get a tax write-off. Hopefully they do. But more than anything, the one farmer that was donating to us, Jack Bessie, wanted to promote agriculture and, increase the, knowledge and awareness of what's going on out there. So he was our main supporter for the last 5 years.
Okay.
So thanks to him. Otherwise, like him and Joe Hager and the Kay Percola from the Imperial Valley Vegetable Growers Association are the ones who mostly gave us the produce for the first few years. Recently, it's kind of waned because it's hard to be asking for donations every year. I think some of the farmers took a big hit with the romaine lettuce.
Oh, with the
so they haven't been able to donate necessarily, but. And there's also, I think, some issues with like the water issue with, I don't want to go into, maybe it's too controversial.
Yeah, too politics.
Yeah.
So how can people, find out about dates and, the events for the farmers market? So
the dates are posted in 2 or 3 places online on there's a farmers market Facebook page, but also the Kika Camarena website has the calendar posted. Also, the Parks and Recreation Department has the calendar posted. The calendar gets spread through a listserv, and at the very beginning when we started, we wanted to include it like in some sort of like mail, maybe like in the water bill or something like that, where everybody gets it, but it never really happened. But that's one of our biggest issues is we can't. It's not promoted enough, and we don't have the resources or funding to promote it as much as we'd like. If we could, we'd like to have maybe newspaper articles or some sort of. This helps a lot, so thank you.
You're welcome.
But
no, I think that just following the page. I mean, people are on Facebook day and night, so just following the page, and I guess people sharing it, can kind of spread the word.
Yeah.
Because I follow you on Facebook, and I know when you guys are having the farmers market, so that helps a lot.
Yep.
And instead of using Facebook for the cheese, I kind of use it for
as a tool for society. Facebook was a big essential tool when we first started. I direct messaged every single city council member plus the city manager when we first initially asking, hey, we have this idea, we want to do a farmer's market, what can we do? And I think 1 or 2 of them replied, and they said, all right, let's meet in city chambers, we'll get it going. So thank you for that. So
what are some of the things you do? Because like I said, I see you, all over town, or you're all over the county even.
Yeah, so now I have a new job. Before this job, I was working at Vincent Memorial Catholic. As a PE weightlifting coach for the football team. My dad's the head coach, and I was also subbing there, and I had a sociology class. Not getting paid too much, and I was also on very limited hours. And I was doing the garden club on a volunteer basis, the farmers market on a volunteer basis. And Libby Pfeiffer, thank God for her, sent me this the link to to a posting. And so the job the title is Community Education Specialist for the University of California Cooperative Extension. And that's located in Hopeville, where, if you're going on Evan Hughes towards Hopeville, right before you get to Barbara Worth, the golfing resort, on the north side of Evan Hughes, there's these little tan buildings on Meadowland Road.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's
it's like there's like a blue sign with the American flag and the temperature and the time. So that location is University of California Agricultural and Natural Resource Center. And it's split into two divisions, the Desert Research Extension and the Cooperative Extension. On one side, you have like the fields and farm advisors. On our side, we have agronomists, weed science, livestock managers, irrigation advisors who go out and work with farmers directly. So any sort of new research or new technology or new information that comes out of the UC gets extended to them through our advisors. My office doesn't work with the farmers, but we go into the communities. So it's we go into daycares, K through 12 schools, low income housing sites, senior housing sites, any site that qualifies basically under SNAP-Ed, regulation. So it's the money comes from the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill allocates money for the USDA. The USDA gives it to California Department of Social Services, and CDSS gives it to 4 local implementing agencies. It's a senior area on aging, Catholic Charities, the Public Health Department, and UC CalFresh. UC CalFresh is the people that I work for, so that's our program. I think it's changing names to CalFresh Healthy Living or something like that, but that'll be in the future. And basically what it is a nutrition education program for SNAP-Ed populations. So we go into classrooms, we give teachers curriculum, and then we enhance the nutrition curriculums with gardening. So we'll install gardens in the classrooms as well, or after school programs. And then we also introduce PE programs into the schools. It's fun. I get to do everything that I was already doing, but now I can get paid for it. So it's fun.
So Miss Pfeiffer was on the
yes, thank God for her and sending me that link. She didn't have to send me the link, she did, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah, she's cool. I like Miss Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you something before that. I want to talk to you about your hobby. I know you're an avid farmer yourself. You have a really cool garden. I don't know if you still have it.
I wouldn't call myself a farmer. I used to work on a farm, but I would call myself a gardener, maybe.
Gardener.
Well, avid gardener.
I mean, when you go to your garden, it's like a mini farm. It's like you have a variety of things that. So what are you growing now? Like
right now, my grandma's bok choy and a few other like leafy green Chinese vegetables. A little bit of broccoli, cauliflower, but not too much this year. Last year we had a lot of cherry tomatoes in the spring, peppers, all the trees that you saw in that video that you made with your son 5-6 years ago are a little bit bigger now. So during parts of the year we'll have figs, we have citrus like mandarin, toronjas, an orange tree, olive trees, pomegranates, guavas, two different types of guavas, date palms. So it's been growing, and then the veggies, it depends on the season. So in the fall, in the cool weather, anything that you need for a salad, leafy greens, and then in the summer, anything you need for like a salsa, your tomatoes, your peppers, but also cucumbers and maize and strawberries. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take more of your time because I know you didn't even have lunch today because you've been.
Oh, it's all right, no worries.
But I really wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about the farmers market and plus anything else that you're doing for the community because like I said I couldn't do all the things you do, like all the time you volunteer for the community and I don't know, I just see you all the time. I'm like, man, I wish I would have the energy Chris has.
I think it's because I don't have kids and I'm just like, what do I do with my life? I gotta go do something. So
I mean, other people would be like, oh, screw this, I'm gonna sleep in and watch Netflix all day. But I mean, I see you out and about, and I really wanted to put the spotlight on you and thank you for that, and also promote the Calexico Farmers Market that it's in full effect now, and it's the second session or a second farmers market of the season. So it's still young, so people can still go out there and support local vendors and just have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. If they want to set up a booth, they still can. It's going to run every 2 weeks up until April. If they want to register to be a food vendor, they need to do it 2 weeks in advance for the health department. So I think tomorrow is the deadline if you want to sell in late January 26th, I think is the day. I won't be at the one in January 26th because we're also doing another event through UC CalFresh. At the Cooperative Extension, there's a festival called Farm to Preschool Festival. And there we're going to have a bunch of different resource booths, but mostly hands-on gardening. Kids are going to be harvesting. They're going to take a tour of the farm. And so that I want to invite people to the Farm to Preschool Festival.
Okay, cool. So thank you once again. Make sure everybody to follow Calexico Farmers Market on Facebook to check out all the dates. And anything else you want to add?
Yeah. So attend the farmers market. It's mostly a message to teachers in Calexico. I can visit your classroom. I can go to every single school except for Blanche, Willie, and Aurora. But I'd like to, if you're a teacher and you're listening to this, I can visit your classroom. I can do direct education. I can do like a direct presentation for the kids. So explain like my plate, the food groups, the food portions. In order, we want to reach as many kids as possible. So if I can go into classrooms, invite me to, maybe you can post my contact information and they can call me, and we'll go into their classrooms. We'll talk about nutrition. If they want to enhance the nutrition class, we can install gardens. We can give them PE resources, PE equipment on certain occasions as well. We can go into the classrooms and stencil the outsides of the school. We can work with the school wellness committee to write the school wellness policy. We can do a bunch of different things in the school. So if it's a teacher administrator and you'd like to have some sort of health promotion program into your school, we're more than willing to go. I've only been at Jefferson, Calexico High School, and a little bit at Kiki and Cesar Chavez. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to be fully in Calexico. I have a couple other schools around the county, but if I can stay in Calexico, I'd rather fill my agenda with classrooms here. Okay, so yeah, I'll post all your contact info, your email, social media, stuff like that. So if teachers out there in Calexico that want to reach out to you and have you come by the classroom. I think just having you install like a mini garden area, that in itself, should pay for, the time you're spending with your kids. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And it's all free too. So tax dollars are paying for it. Thank you, Michelle Obama. And everything we do is with the goal of being sustainable. So if anything happens to a program, if the administration, the political administration cuts our funding, if they don't pass the farm bill, if they they want to cut funding for SNAP Ed populations, they literally want to take away the people's EBT benefits. And so luckily they weren't successful this last year, but they want to. So certain SNAP Ed programs like ours are almost on the chopping block. So my message is take advantage of the resources we have now because they may not exist forever. So we're shooting for sustainability. If we can set up a garden, you take it over. We can't necessarily run the whole thing forever, but you'll guide them too. Yeah, we'll provide technical assistance, and hopefully teachers can carry on the nutrition, the PE, the gardening on themselves afterwards. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. Well, Chris, thank you again for taking this time and out of your busy day and, talking to us about, the farmers market, your projects with your new job and everything else you do. And thank you once again. Thank you, Jose. I'm happy to be on the podcast and hopefully people listen to it, and thank you for the opportunity. All right. Thank you. All right, guys. See you guys in the next one. Peace.